أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده تعالى ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهديه الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله. بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في سبيل دينه حتى أتاه اليقين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليك يا رسول الله. أما بعد، يقول الحبيب المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم: بدأ الإسلام غريبا وسيعود غريبا كما بدأ. Islam started as a strange religion. وسيعود غريبا كما بدأ, and it will go back to be strange as it started. And this is the time that the Prophet ﷺ predicted. Islam becomes new, even to the Muslims themselves. Look around you. That's what the Prophet ﷺ started as a handful, and it come back to a handful of people. People are not interested in Islam as much as they are interested in dunya. So the first period of Islam, the first 13 years of Islam, it happened in Mecca. And then we call this, Quran was revealed in Mecca for 13 years. This Quran have certain characteristics, certain ways, and the ulama call it the Makki Quran. And then when they moved to Medina and they established an Islamic state, now it becomes a Madani Quran. What's the difference? Makki Quran deal with only one thing, and one thing only. And this is really the time that we need to go back to the originals, back to the roots of Islam. It deals with faith, aqeedah, iman, all how to build a better human being that in the future he can take care of the affairs of the Muslims. Not only the Muslims, but the affairs of the entire world, everybody. This is really the importance of this period, is to build. And we said we're going to study the Makki Surah, and today we're starting a new Surah, and this is Surah number 35, Surah Al-Balad. What's the meaning of Surah Al-Balad? Al-Balad is the city or the village. It did not say Surah Balad Nakira. If you say Surah Balad, city, any city, but say Al-Balad, the city. So what did Allah meant here? Mecca. Mecca is al-Qura, the mother of all cities. And the Kaaba, إِنَّ أَوَّلَ بَيْتٍ وُضَعَ لِلنَّاسِ لَلَّذِي بِبَكَّةَ مُبَارَكًا. First house built on earth was the Kaaba. So this is the importance. Why this surah is important? One, we say it's a Makki surah. So it come to correct for mushriks. What is a mushrik? A mushrik is the one who take partners with Allah. And nowadays, mashallah, everybody have partners. Partners such as, now you worship an idol. Some do. Some worship cows. They think cows are God. Some worship a statue. Some worship their own desire, their own hawa, their own nafs. Some worship money. There's a lot of people do that. You find a man, mashallah, he prays, he fasts, But don't touch my money because this is my God. If you come and touch it, you are in trouble. That's why he buy and sell by cheating and conniving to people. And he runs to the masjid, Allahu Akbar. So this is aqidah fasida. This is poor iman, weak in heart. أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. Have you seen the one who takes his God or his Lord is his own desire? Money, women, cars, houses. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us and he tells us, قُلْ إِنْ كَانَ آبَاؤُكُمْ. Tell them, Ya Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, if your parents, وَأَبْنَاؤُكُمْ, your children. See, this is the desires that everybody fall in love with. قُلْ إِنْ كَانَ آبَاؤُكُمْ, your parents, وَأَبْنَاؤُكُمْ, your children, وَأَزْوَاجُكُمْ, your wives or spouses, وَعَشِيرَتُكُمْ, your family, وَأَمْوَالٌ اقْتَرَفْتُمُوهَا, and money that you earn, وَتِجَارَةً تَخْشَوْنَ وَتِجَارَةً تخشون كسادها أموال اقترفتموها وتجارة تخشون كسادها ومساكن ترضونها, and homes that you love, right? ومساكن ترضونها أحب إليكم من الله ورسوله, are more beloved to your heart than Allah and His Messenger. فتربصوا, then wait. الله لا يهدي القوم الفاسقين. So this is the partners that people take. So this Makki surahs come to correct this aqidah, to have only Allah and His Messenger is your aim and your goal. Surah Al-Balad is no exception. We'll read it and we'll live with it inshallah tonight if we can finish it. Small surah, it has only 20 verses. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت حل بهذا البلد ووالد وما ولد. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here says, أقسم بهذا البلد, I swear by Mecca. This is Baytullah al-Haram. This is the forbidden house. It's the first house that put on earth. It should be safe. وَمَنْ دَخَلَهُ كَانَ آمِنًا. No fighting in it, no argument in it, no. Everybody should enter. The Kaaba should be, or Mecca should be safe. No fighting, no animosities, no, quarrel with each other. You cannot kill an animal in Mecca. You can't kill birds, you can't hunt, you can't cut trees. Haram, this is all haram. The whole balad is forbidden, it's haram. Even the blood of the Muslim in Mecca is haram. Or the blood of anybody in Mecca is haram. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the azama, to tell us the honor and the sacracy and the sanction and the beauty of Mecca, says, that's why Allah said, لا أقسم بهذا البلد ولا أقسم أي أقسم. I swear, Allah swear by His creation. And if Allah swear by anything means, it's a very high thing. But us as Muslim, when we swear, we don't say, some people say the rahmat ummi, yat abuya. This is all haram. Man kana yuqsim falyuqsim billah. You only swear by Allah. But Allah swear by His creation. لا أقسم بهذا البلد. So this هذا البلد is very, very important. وأنت حل بهذا البلد. من أنت؟ Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And you tell him, وَأَنْتَ حِلٌّ, you are present in this. That's another honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Muhammad was born in Mecca. وأنت حل. Muhammad is the best prophet that Allah created, the highest prophet, the leader, the imam of the prophets and messengers. So that adds to the greatness of Mecca, and is the greatest prophet that Allah ever created, born and lived in Mecca. وأنت حل بهذا البلد ووالد وما ولد. Allah swear by what? A father and his son. So who is the father? Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Ibrahim is the one who built the Kaaba, and his son Ismail. Walidun wa ma walad. And the ulama said also, in general, the man and his son, or a man and his children. Walidun wa ma walad. So Allah swear by three things now. First, Mecca, Balad al-Haram. Second, لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت حل, the existence of Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم in this. And third, he swear by mankind. Do you understand how great Mecca is, how great the Prophet is, and how great man is? Allah created this universe to us. We are really the master of this universe. Allah, that's وَوَالِدٍ وَمَا وَلَدٍ. So, where is tasheeh al-aqidah here? Allah swear by three things important, and man is one of them, because Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is man, so twice. How important that is. The Makki Quran teach you something. Question number one, who am I? Who am I? Insan, man, who is he? Two, what is the purpose of my creation? Why am I here? Three, is to learn who your Lord is, what He wants from you. This is really the whole essence of this existence. So you're born and you die, and you live certain time. What do you do in this time? Why are you born this year? Not 100 years ago, not 500 years from now. So what is the purpose of my creation? Why am I on this earth? You have to know that. If you go out there and you pose that simple questions, pick any of your friends that you work with, anybody. Pick a Muslim who doesn't pray, and just ask him that simple questions. What is the purpose of your existing? Why are you here? What are you doing? Some would say to get married. That's what the Quran mentions, so people like family. Some will say to make money. Some will say, Khalina Aish, let me live. Many answers, which is all incorrect answer because they don't have the teaching of Aqidah and faith. So this, Allah poses this question, لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت حل بهذا البلد ووالد وما ولد. So always when Allah make qasam, you have to give the answer, jawab al-qasam. So why Allah is swear by all these important things? He said, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. This is underlined that you can write many books just لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. Allah state a fact. We have created man in vain, in agony, in tiredness. كَبَد, تعب, شقاء, كدح. So let's examine the journey of man. When the mother gets pregnant with the baby, that's a little cell, and it gets bigger. So this cell breaks. That's tiredness. That's tiredness for the woman, tiredness for the baby, and it grows, and it stays there. It starts, getting hard, getting formed. All of this is, vain, tiredness, hardship, until it's become complete. Have you ever seen a baby get born laughing? He just come out of his mother's womb and just laughing? No. And that big baby, sometimes 8 or 9 or 10 or 12 pounds, coming from a small little place, he gets some, like almost choking, almost dying. Some die. Isn't that kabad? Isn't that ta'ab? Isn't that shaqa? Isn't that, this is the beginning of your life. And he come out of this narrowness, and then what happened to him? He's screaming and crying, starting another journey of tiredness, of hardship, of difficulties. Why he cried? The light hits his eye for the first time. He can't see. He hears something different. He's out of his comfort of his mother, and now he's going to start doing what? Eating. So his digestive system is going to start working. And this is kabad, this is tiredness, this is hardship. Have you ever seen a kid trying to crawl? It's difficulties. Try to stand up and the parents hold his hand and he fall and try again and try again. Tiredness, kabad, ta'ab, difficulties. The first word, difficult. When he grew up to be a person and he starts earning, tiredness, reach puberty, and now he have to choose. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. You have to choose between good and bad. Allah said, وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجِدَيْنِ. We show him both ways. We show him the good. فَأَلَهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. Allah showed a straight path, and they show the other road, and you can pick either one you want. قَدْ يَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. The person who really succeed is the one who helped this nafs to choose the right way. Kabad. So all of your life, you struggle to make money. You struggle to keep power. You struggle to study. You struggle to do this all your life, kabad, until you die. So this tiredness, statement, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. The Muslim work hard. The kafir work hard. Everybody work hard. But some work hard for the right reason, and some work hard for the wrong reason. But everybody, in the one who's rich, don't think he's comfortable. He's worried about making more money. He's worried about keeping his own money. He's worried about, so everyone is hardship. That's life. So Allah make that statement. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ. Every man, every human being go through that process of tiredness. And then Allah asked a question. Allah, akhi, in the Quran give dialogues. Quran is not like, statement after statement. He's asked, أَيَحْسَبُ أَنْ لَنْ يَقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ أَحَدٍ. So now when you are an adult now and you work hard and you make money and have children and this and that, Allah is asking you, أَيَحْسَبُ أَنْ لَنْ يَقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ أَحَدٍ. Does he think no one can control him or over him? أَيَحْسَبُ أَنْ لَنْ يَقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ أَحَدٍ. يَقُولُ. So man say what? أَهْلَكْتُ مَالًا لُبَدًا. I have spent a lot of money. We all do spend, right? Anybody doesn't spend money? Spend money on food. Spend money on clothes. You spend money on housing. You spend money on cars. You spend money on gas. You spend money on entertaining. Right? So you spend. Everybody spends. Some spend a lot, some spend little. So we're all in the same boat. Kabad. Tiredness. Some people, akhi, wallahi, they just keep working all their life. Just work. Allah is not in their mind. Just keep working. And then he find himself 65, 70 years old and said, what happened to my life? Some people work to the point, all what they care is collecting money. They don't even know what happened to their children. They don't care. They just, and some, they just, for their own desires. It's all kabad. يَقُولُ أَهْلَكْتُ مَالًا لُبَدًا. I spent so much money. And then Allah is asking another question. أَيَحْسَبُ أَن لَّمْ يَرَهُ أَحَدٌ. Do you think he's spending this money and he's living this life without nobody watching you. You remember Surah Qaf we just finished? ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد. So Allah asking the same question, said, أيحسب أن لم يره أحد? Doesn't he think that no one sees him, sees what his action is, what he does? You have two angels recording everything you do, everything, every action you do, it is recorded. That's why Allah, أيحسب أن لم يره أحد? And then a human being becomes so arrogant, becomes so tough, and he thinks that he owns the world, that Allah is not in the equation. No one can care about him. And we mention all the time, take somebody like the guy in Syria. I hate to say his name. That evil person, that wicked person. He works so hard, doesn't he? Real hard. To do what? To keep a chair. He kills people. He massacres. He causes atrocity. So isn't he working hard? And where is that going to? So Allah said, أَيَحْسَبُ أَن لَّمْ يَرَهُ أَحَدٌ? Then Allah come to simplicity. أَلَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ عَيْنَيْنِ? Just think for a second. Think for 1 second that you are blind. Tomorrow you turn to be blind and you lose your sight. How's your life will change? Really think. Close your eyes that you don't see anything. Close your eyes and think that you're blind. How would you go to the bathroom? How would you get dressed? Can you drive a car? Can you go to the mall? Can you work the job that you have now? So Allah is give you simple ni'mah, simple thing. So everything that we do depends on our what? Sight. Just think if you are a student and now you're blind, your way of learning will change totally. You can't see the teacher anymore. You can't see the board anymore. You can't see the iPad anymore. You can't see the computer anymore. Right? So Allah give you that sight and until you protect it. That's why He's asking, أَلَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ عَيْنَيْنِ وَلِسَانًا وَشَفَتَيْنِ? Again, imagine that you cannot talk. You are totally silent. How do you express yourself? How do you tell people you're hungry? How do you tell people that you're thirsty? How do you tell people you want something? Or you're buying something? Or selling something? So you have to change your way of learning. It's two ni'mah. Allah just mentioned this two. أَلَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ عَيْنَيْنِ وَلِسَانًا وَشَفَتَيْنِ? If He take both of them from you, imagine you can't talk and you're blind. Just imagine. How would you live? It's only two things. If you add to it that you're deaf, if you add to it you can't walk, if you add to it you can't use your hands, you get a virus in your stomach and everything you eat you have a diarrhea. It runs to the bathroom. How miserable you are, you can't even do anything, that you can't enjoy. It doesn't matter how rich you are or how whatever you have. If you have really a case of diarrhea that you're going and going, how would you survive? Or you can't go to the bathroom, the opposite. Can't eat, everything gets stuck in there. How would you suffer? So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. If you try to count the blessing of Allah, it's countless. So this surah tell you, know who you are. You are weak. خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. You are totally weak. A little virus, you can't even put you to bed. A little headache can make you crazy. A little stomach problem can make you, a little thorn or cut in your finger that you get swollen and gets. See how weak man is? Without Allah is nothing. So Allah is asking, وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجِدَيْنِ. And we show him the good and the bad. Does he follow the good? Does he follow the bad? What does he follow? Allah left you a choice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, وَالَّذِي خَلَقَكُمْ. It is Allah who had created you. But some people don't know that. فَمِنْكُمْ, by choice, mu'min. Choose to be a believer. Choose to follow the right path. وَمِنْكُمْ كَافِرٌ. And some of you choose to go the other way. وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. You can see what you do, your actions. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَلَقْتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةِ. اقْتَحَمَ means he overcome. Al-Aqaba. What's Aqaba? When you translate the word Aqaba. Aqaba is an obstacle. Aqaba is something difficult. Now, since you're born until you die, how many Aqaba do you meet? How many obstacles do you meet? And the biggest challenge, do you believe or you don't believe? That's the Aqaba. This is the challenge. فَلَقْتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةِ. Can you really overcome life? Can you overcome shaitan? Can you overcome the nafs? Can you overcome your desire? Can you overcome this dunya? And he said, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةِ. What is Aqaba? Come to reality. فَكُّ رَقَبَةِ. It's at the time of slavery, anybody who free a slave, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if you free his hand, Allah will free your hand in the day of judgment, in Jannah. If you free his foot, if you free a whole man, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will free all of you in Jannah. I'm going to mention a few hadith that I brought for you. The Prophet ﷺ says, مَنْ بَنَى مَسْجِدًا. Whoever built a masjid, لِيُذْكَرَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ بَنَى اللَّهُ بَيْتًا فِي الْجَنَّةِ. Whoever built a masjid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will build a house for him in Jannah. So even if he helped building a masjid, if he helped building something like this, the Prophet ﷺ said, you build a masjid, or help in stopping that masjid, or continue that masjid to prosper, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will build a house for you in Jannah. Then he said, وَمَنْ أَعْتَقَ نَفْسًا مُسْلِمًا فَكَانَتْ فِدْيَتُهُ مِنْ جَهَنَّمَ. Whoever free a Muslim from slavery, he said Allah will free him from Jahannam, from the hellfire. So let's go to give you an example of the Sahaba. I brought Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, and I really wanted to share with you. Abu Bakr, he was the most of the Sahaba that freed a lot of slaves in the Mecca time. So we're going to take a few examples. The first one, Amir ibn Fahira, and he said this one, he was a slave, and Abu Bakr bought him, and he freed him for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Abu Bakr, that's one person, so he will free him. Allah will free him from the hellfire. And this man was from Shuhada Badr. He died, Shahada Badran, and قتل عند بئر معونة. Ubays was Zanira. Zanira was a slave for one of the tyrants of Quraysh, Umayyah ibn Khalaf. So Abu Bakr bought her and freed her. When he did, she got blind. So the Quraysh ran around and said, hey, see, because she chose that new religion, Al-Lata wal-Uzza, which is the name of two idols, took her sight. So what did she say? She said, كذبتم, you are a liar. Only Allah can take my sight, and only Allah can make it back. She went to sleep, and the next day she wake up with her eye back to her. See what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does for a simple, this is Abu Bakr freed her as well. Then there's still a lady, her name is An-Nahdiyya وابنتها, and her daughter. They were both were slaves for a woman, and she was really nasty with them. So she beat them up, they make them work all the time. So Abu Bakr passed and I said, why didn't you just give him a break? She said, you give him a break. He said, I'll buy him, both of them, from you. So both of them were Muslims, so he freed them. And they took, at the time that he freed them, the woman gave both of them some corn to make bread, to go make, flour and make bread and come back to her. So Abu Bakr freed her, freed both of them, the mother and the daughter. And then, so he followed them and he said, you are now free. You don't have to be a slave for the woman, you have to do anything. To see the person who make ihsan, they said, yeah, Abu Bakr, can we finish her job? So Abu Bakr said, you're free to do whatever you want. You don't have to. But they went, they freed, they made her job, they brought the flour back to her and said, here you are. See how Muslims not like, I work for a kafir, I have to screw up his job. No. Muslims always have ihsan. Ihsan is what? Best goodness. To do the best job. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ إِذَا عَمِلَ أَحَدُكُمْ عَمَلًا أَن يُتْقِنَهُ, is to perfect it, is to the best your ability. That's Islam. Abu Bakr was also passing one time, and he found Umar ibn al-Khattab, and he was not a Muslim at the time. He had a woman, a slave that he owns, and she became a Muslim. And Umar beat her up every day. Every day. Imagine Umar. Umar was like really a very big, tall man, and this is a woman, and he's beating her and beating her. Do you know when he stopped? When he gets tired. So Abu Bakr was passing by day and Umar was beating her up. So he just sat from being tired. Imagine he's being tired beating her, how about the woman? The poor woman. So Abu Bakr said, yeah, Umar, don't you stop? They said, buy her from me. So he bought her. And he freed her. Abu Bakr, his father, Abu Quhafa, he said, my son, why are you freeing this weak women and slaves? Why don't you free somebody who's strong that can support you against the kafir? He said, I'm not doing it for my strength. I'm not doing it for my protection, but I'm doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Abu Bakr was freeing people left and right, and this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَكُّ رَقَبَةً, is to free what? A slave. Of course, we don't have that luxury today, but maybe if somebody got, in a war and get, taken as captured, if you free him, that's similar. Now come to the things that we can do. أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة. To feed people, masghaba, which is famine, majaa. There's no food, scarcity of food, and at that time you feed. You give the people. Now when you look really in Afghanistan, and you find people have no food. When you look in Africa, in Somalia, in places there is no food. And then the Muslims have millions and millions and billions of dollars. Don't you feed those people? أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة. But that's what I'm saying to you, my dear brothers. These so-called Muslims, they have the wealth, they have the oil. Who they help? You find all around them, even in their own country, people who are starving. They don't care. So do you call these are Muslims? You call these mu'mins? أو إطعام في يوم. That's the aqaba. فَلَقْتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةِ. The obstacle. An obstacle when you see a starving people in front of you, what are you doing about it? Are you doing something about it? إطعام. Prophet ﷺ said, أفشوا السلام. So always spread peace. وأطعموا الطعام. And feed people. I have a brother, he's not here tonight, and he's insisting that he wants to make his aqiqah back home. I say, Subhanallah, أطعم الطعام أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة. طعام أخي. We agreed before I forget the طعام, I made a new box as we agreed. And you see what we wrote on it? Weekend food. إطعام الطعام. أطعم الطعام. أفشوا السلام وأطعموا الطعام. I didn't say only poor. Feed everybody. وقوموا لله والناس نيام, and stood up in the middle of the night to make tahajjud. تدخلوا الجنة بسلام. You enter Jannah in peace. Simple, isn't it? And the person said, do I have to feed anybody? No, brother, you don't have to do anything. You don't want to feed anybody? Fine, keep your money. Go send it back home. Right? So we'll ask the brothers, if you want, we have no food tonight, no food yesterday, because that's what we agreed on. It's for us, right? So we're going to pass that box. Who would like to be in charge of this? I don't want to be in charge of everything. Who would like to be in charge of this box? I don't mean in charge, you have to put your own money. If you want to, of course. But I want some of you to take that box, pass it on, and at the end of the night, count the money. So if we got $50, we'll get some hot dogs. If we got $100, that basically gets about 10 pizzas. If you want to eat really meat like we ate last time, you need about $500-600. I know we are a few people, so we can pass it Friday and Saturday. You want to put $2 there, it's fine. You put $5 there. So the more we have, inshallah, so if we have only $50, then we'll skip next week until it gets some money in it. So if we have $300-400, then we can, inshallah, buy food with that things. I know some of you are, alhamdulillah, are generous and they would like to buy the pizza by themselves, but we have to share. We have to share the ability to go to Jannah. See, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَلَقْتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةِ, the obstacle of life. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةِ, what is that aqaba? What is that obstacle? فَكُّ رَقَبَةِ, free a slave. أَوْ إِطْعَامٌ, or feed people, أخي. فِي يَوْمٍ ذِي مَسْغَبَةِ, يَتِيمًا. I didn't know that among us somebody's orphans. ذَا مَقْرَبَةِ, yatim. How many yatim in Iraq? How many men got killed in Iraq between the Iraq war and the Iran war? Over 2 million Muslims. Only men get killed and women stuck with what? Orphans, children. How many fed them? In, Afghanistan, how many orphans in there? In Syria now, women are running with the children across the border of Jordan, Lebanon, Turkey. Who feeds them? They're all orphans. Isn't that our responsibility? Listen to this hadith, akhi. Wallahi, if you take one hadith with you tonight, and you go home with it and you think about it. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, مَنْ لَمْ يَهْتَمْ بِأَمْرِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ فَلَيْسَ مِنْهُ. Whoever doesn't care about Muslim matters is not a Muslim. That's what he says. So if a brother, he prays, he fasts, he reads Quran, but he doesn't care about the Muslims' matter, what is he? Wallahi, akhi, he's not a Muslim. He looks like a Muslim. He acts like a Muslim, but he's not. We all read a surah, very, very simple surah. We all memorized it, alhamdulillah. And I want you to hear it with me, because it's feed in the same area. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. What does that mean? Have you seen the one that denies the religion, the faith, denies Islam? أَرَأَيْتَ, have you seen? الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ, that person who rejects faith. Who's he? فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمِ. What Allah says here, أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة يتيما ذا مقربة. And if it's relative to you, I have a relative, let's say in Egypt, and the police killed him, and then I have the wife, and I say, cousin, I'm sorry, and turn my back on her. You have orphans that raising. We all have that. So he said, رَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Have you seen the one who rejects faith? فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمِ. So akhi, you can pray and fast and go to Hajj and do all of that, but he said you are denying the real deen. فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمِ. اسمع أخي. وَلَا يُطْعِمُ الْمِسْكِينَ. No. وَلَا يَحُضُّ. So if you're poor and you're a rich man and you don't walk to him and say, hey brother, pay for this poor, you are denying the deen. So you don't say, I'm poor, I don't have to pay, I don't care. No. وَلَا يَحُضُّ means to encourage others to go seek people to do that. وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. That's the مكذب للدين. Two things Allah mentioned. أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمِ. He leaves the orphans. وَلَا يَحُضُّ doesn't encourage people to spend for the sake of Allah. عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. What's the next one, brother? فَوَيْلٌ لمن؟ للكافرين؟ No. فويل للمصلين. عجيب. Punishment. ويل severe. وعد من الله سبحانه. Punishment. To the person who pray? Yes, not the kafir. Because the kafir is ignorant. He doesn't know Allah. But the one who prays, who pretends to pray, he knows Allah. He knows what's haram. He knows what's halal. So that's why Allah said, فويل للمصلين. Why, Ya Allah? الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. Which salah is Allah is talking about? Tell me, brothers. Which salah? Because people think, salah, he forgot to pray Asr or Maghrib or Isha. No, akhi, that's not the salah that Allah is talking about. The salah is talking about, Allah said that to feed the poor, to feed the orphan. That's another salah. Salah is not just, Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah, liman hamidah. That's not the salah Allah is talking about. But the salah is helping. مَنْ لَمْ يَهْتَمْ بِأَمْرِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ فَلَيْسَ مِنْهُمْ. If you don't care about Muslims, you're not one of them. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. They are absent, they are asleep away from the salah. Which is الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ. The hypocrites. They pray and fast. وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَعُونَ. And the one who, not only they don't pay, they stop it. Imagine, akhi, to stop the help. Like I heard a few brothers, they said, let's encourage people not to pay for the masjid so they can close. You imagine? You imagine that person pray and he says stop from paying for any masjid to have it closed? What kind of iman is this? What kind of Islam is this? What kind of stupidity is this? That's why Allah said, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. He prays, but he tells people to stop paying for the masjid. Ajib, ya akhi. Wallahi, when I hear these ayat, they are, يَمُرُّونَ عَلَيْهَا وَهُمْ مُعْرِضُونَ. They pass by these verses, they are deaf, they are blind, they don't see. When I look all these rich people in the Middle East, and they see these starving people, wallahi, if they take a quarter, or 1/8 of their wealth and you just give it to people, nothing will happen. There's a study made, if they take their zakah, which is not quarter or 1/8, it's 2.5%. 2.5%. If the Arabic world, with all the wealth they have, take 2.5% of their zakah and give it to the Muslims, the poor Muslim in the world, everyone will get $1 million a year. Imagine $1 million a year. Everyone. Every poor Muslim. That's why Allah is angry. He said, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ. The munafiq, the hypocrites. وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَعُونَ. And they forbid others to help. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَوْ إِطْعَامٌ فِي يَوْمٍ ذِي مَسْغَبَةٍ. When you have famine, we hear many famines in Africa, and kids are dying, and no one helping. Kids in Turkey are dying, no medical support, they're dying in Jordan, they're dying here and there. Nobody support them. Why? And these rich people have their own private jets and their own private clubs and their own private horses. One time I was on 60 Minutes a year ago, I watched, in the Gulf area, they treat their horse, an animal. 10 times, they have a stable made out of like nice walls and nice concrete, and every horse have his own. And these workers who come from India and Pakistan, they put 30 and 40 in a room. So the human live like rats, and the horses live beautiful in stables and have 2-3 people feed them and wash them and clean them. Do you imagine? Do you imagine this? And this is our Muslims. Wallahi, I don't call them Muslims at all. Yatiman, da maqraba, orphan. It's related to you. See, akhi, think back home. They have a cousin that lost her husband, or husband died, or a neighbor, and they have nobody to feed them or give them anything. Akhi, here on the television, they said, help Africans, kids. This is Christian organization. Help African kids. You have a cup of coffee a day, it costs $3 or $5. $3 times 30, that's $90. For $90 a month, you can support an orphan. Have you ever really think about that? You can support an orphan. Why not one of you comes and he said, Sheikh cannot do everything by himself. One of you comes and says, Sheikh, I'm going to be in charge of orphan. Let's open a box. Let's open an account. And he stand here every Jum'ah and he said, I remind everybody that we collected money for orphans. It could be anywhere. We help just the orphan, little children. Anybody think of that? You imagine the Prophet ﷺ said, Ana wa kafil yatimi hatayn, kahatayn. I am and the one who supports the orphan in Jannah like this. Ana wa kafil yatim fil Jannah. You'd be right next to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One, you guarantee Jannah. 2, you are with the Prophet. What more do you want? Do you want this dunya or do you want the hereafter? That's what Allah is talking to us. أو مسكينا. من المسكين أخي? What's the difference between faqir and miskin? Faqir sometimes asks you, give me. A miskin doesn't. He's poor than poor, but he doesn't ask you because he's like, he has self-reservation, self-respect. And he said, miskinan dha matraba. You know what dha matraba is? Turab. Dirt. He's so poor that he sleeps on the dirt. That he doesn't have a house like you. You can see the Syrian people that escape. Where do they sleep, brothers? On the dirt, under a tent. If you look at it on television, it breaks your heart. So who's the one who supports those people? To help them. Or we find an organization that helps them and we support them. And don't say $1 is not going to work. Or $5 doesn't work. The Prophet ﷺ said, رُبَّ dirham sabaqa alf dirham. $1 could be ahead of 1,000. Why? Because that's the only one that you have. Or you're poor, so you give $1 or 50 cents to an orphan, to a needy, to someone, to feel that this is my brother. Because you don't know. Maybe it will happen to you. Maybe it will happen to your family. You don't know. Things change. Remember, people have homes and cars, and in 2007, 2008, a lot of people out of work, lost their homes, kicked in the street, right? A lot of people. A lot of people don't have jobs now. So don't think I'm in America, I'm safe. You're not. You're safe with Allah. وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ Whoever love Allah, have taqwa for Allah, be conscious of Allah, يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. He'll find a way out for you. وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبْ. And Allah will provide for you from an area where you don't even think about it. But who has that taqwa? Who has that trust in Allah? Who has that heart that day and night, in agony, in goodness, in any condition, is always with Allah. Ya Allah, I'm always with you. That's why this is a surah in Makkah. Aqidah, faith, believe. أو مسكينا ذا متربة ثم كان من الذين آمنوا. See all of this, and you have to be a believer. آمنوا وتواصوا. We encourage each other by two things: sabr, patience. Patient when you work hard and you make that money and you pay it to a poor. Patient when you struggle for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Patient when you find that there's something halal that's difficult, but something haram is very easy, and you stop from doing it. That's aqaba. You cross that obstacle. Patient. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in many surah, He said, إِنَّهُ مَنْ يَتَّقِي وَيَصْبِرْ. Taqwa, which is iman in the heart, and complete patience. فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ عَزْمِ الْأُمُورِ. This is the strength of men. عزم الأمور. ثم كان من الذين آمنوا وتواصوا بالصبر. Be patient with Allah. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with your family. Be patient with whatever you do. إنما يوفى الصابرون أجرهم بغير حساب. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward those who practice patience unlimited. Unlimited. إنه من يتقي ويصبر. Taqwa and sabr. Write it on a piece of paper. He said taqwa and patience. Conscious of Allah and patience. Knowing Allah and patience. Make it a sticker, put in your car, put it in your bathroom, put it in your bedroom, put it at your work. See, always taqwa and sabr. Taqwa and sabr. Sabr is a different story by itself. You can spend hours on it. So here, ثم كان من الذين آمنوا. We have to start with iman. وتواصوا. So you don't be patient only, but you encourage, hey brother Muhammad, be patient. You have a problem, be patient, brother. Allah will reward you. Brother Majid, be patient. Brother Ali, be patient. So وتواصوا. You know, we have to remind one another. Allah said, فذكر. Remind. إن الذكرى تنفع المؤمنين. Remembrance is good for the believers. وتواصوا بالمرحمة. Rahmah. Be merciful to your brother. Be merciful to your family. Be merciful with the orphan. Be merciful with the poor. Be merciful with the needy. Be merciful among one another. Marhamah. Min al-Rahmah. أولئك أصحاب الميمنة. This description, the one who freed a slave, the one who helped the poor, the needy, the one who encouraged patience, the one who is a mu'min. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أولئك أصحاب الميمنة. They are the righteous people. And when your life ends, the one who works so hard to make money, and so hard to have power, and so hard to do this and that, he will die. Have you seen anybody doesn't escape death? No one escaped death. كل نفس ذائقة الموت. Every soul will test death. So if you work so hard, right, kabad, and then you end up being in the hellfire, are you a winner or a loser? So why don't you spend all your energy to be with Allah, to be patient, do the righteous thing. Then you end up in what? Jannah forever. Peace forever. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, أولئك أصحاب الميمنة. Then وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِآيَاتِنَا. But those who rejected the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rejected deen, أولئك أصحاب المشأمة. What's مشأمة? They are the bad omens. They are the bad luck. Kafir is a bad luck. Kafir is a bad person. Allah does not like them. أولئك أصحاب المشأمة. When you see a person who doesn't pray, just turn your face away and go away from him. Unless you're giving him a da'wah. Because he's a bad omen. It can cause you problems. أولئك أصحاب المشأمة. And worse of that, عليهم نار مؤصدة. They are in the hellfire, locked up. Imagine, Habibi, a person is locked up in the hellfire. وقودها الناس والحجارة. That the hellfire, the fire, the fuel of this nas, people, and rock and stones. عليها ملائكة غلاظ شداد. You know what غليظ is? Very harsh, very strong. غلاظ شداد. لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم. They never disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah said, punish him, beat him up in the hellfire. He'll beat you up. وقالوا يا مالك, one of the hellkeeper, فليقضي علينا ربك. Yani they are suffering in the hellfire. So, Malik, please let Allah kill us. We don't want to live anymore. لا يموتون فيها ولا يحيون فيها. لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا. He doesn't die, he doesn't live. He's in between. وقالوا يا مالك فليقضي علينا ربك. قال إنكم ماكثون. Stay in it. Suffer. So what you did in this life, is it worth it, brother? So you're born at 0, and up to like 10 or 12, you're really an innocent person. Once you turn to puberty, let's say 15, and you live to 65. So how many years is that? 40? 50? Is 50 years worth eternity? Who's crazy to sacrifice eternity because of 50 years? Look at yourself, whatever age you are. What happened yesterday? What happened a month ago? Do you remember? If you're 50 today, what happened when you were 40? Do you still remember? What happened when you were 20? Your life passes so quickly. The Prophet ﷺ tells us, when you die, as if you enter, you have a house, you enter from one door and exit from the other one. Life is so nothing. See, this surah, akhi, Surah Al-Balad, answered the question who you are. You're nobody. You're a weak thing. You are created in vain, and an obstacle after another until you die. Everybody struggles. No one doesn't. Don't think somebody's, oh yeah, my brother have it made. No, he doesn't. Go stay with him for a few months and see how his life. You're going to find he's not made at all. They have his own sets of problems. Rich or poor, king or slave. They're all the same problems. But the righteous person is the one who chooses the right path. The path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So know who you are. I'm the creation of Allah. Allah created me to worship. Allah created me to be a good person. To establish good. To help others. To take care of the Muslims. To care about them. To encourage people to spend for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what you're all about. And you know the end. There's nobody's going to be in the middle. فريق في الجنة وفريق في السعير. It's your choice. فمنكم مؤمن by choice ومنكم كافر by choice. والله بما تعملون بصير. Allah sees all. So my dear brothers, this surah is short, 20 verses. But it has a lot of meaning. It tells you who you are, what are you created for, which route to take. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us understand our deen. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا وأخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. إن شاء الله